Okay, so real quick, I'm going to try to keep this short and not too sciencey, but I want people to understand just what exactly is going on in the body and the brain and how it's all connected. So hopefully I'll be able to cover it in just a couple minutes, but we'll see how well I do. So I want to talk about first, let me just say this is not to treat, diagnose, cure, prevent any sickness, illness, disease. This is my own research. You can do your own research too, and I highly recommend it. If you need some resources and knowing where to go, I would love to point you in the right direction. So not everyone may agree with my research, and that's okay. But this is what I have found, and through just our experience and different things, and I would love to share it with you. So go research it yourself as well. So here's the connection. 95% of autistic kids have what's called the mthfr gene mutation when they are tested for it. That's a high percentage. And so what is that connected to? To help with the mthfr gene mutation to work correctly, you have to have a healthy gut. Leaky gut creates more of just a toxic overload on your system. And basically it's creating more work for your body and your brain. And so there is the connection between, there's such a high percentage of kids testing for this gene mutation, which basically that gene mutation affects your cellular detox and your cellular creating processes. And so we'll get to that in a second. So where's the connection with mold? Well, 1 in every 4 buildings has been found to have mold in it. And why is that important? Many mold sick children who have been exposed to either schools that had mold or living in it or went on a vacation or maybe have moved several times and lived in a building with mold. They are misdiagnosed actually on the autism spectrum because they exhibit the same behaviors and overloaded things that autistic kids do. So there's a connection there. What does overload mean? It basically, the body cannot expel the toxins fast enough, so it's junking up. I want you to think of like a garbage disposal. When you start putting stuff in, if it's grinding really fast, it gets the food out. Well, if you slow that down to really slow and it's going, well, you still have all the garbage being dumped into the sink, but what's happening? It's backing up. And but it's still going slow, so it's going to get it down in time, but it's not processing it as fast. And so when you think of mthfr, a lot of times that's what's happening. So that's why you see a lot of kids who are autistic. You see them presenting the mthfr, and 2, a high percentage have actually been exposed to mold at one point, which creates a whole other systemic issues. So what happens when you have overload? It slows down your physical, mental, and emotional growth and ability in the body and in the brain on a cellular level. And so again, that drain, the garbage disposal effect. I want you to think of that. So over time, with your cellular system, it's really important in that beginning part with kids because they're growing so fast. You see how much that's affected. So let's see, gut health is highly researched in the autism field. It's highly researched in mold recovery, and it's highly researched in the mthfr realm. And they are doing massive studies and doing a lot of forward research in those fields, figuring out how to support people's body through gut health, because that is your epicenter. I want you to think everything you intake from your mouth ends up in your gut. So your gut's ability to process anything is going to be solely dependent on how well that is functioning. And if you have way more bad bacteria than good, it is not going to benefit you at all. Your body can handle a lot on a toxic load level, but after a while, the alarm lights are going to start going off, like in your car, and you ignore all those alarm lights for a certain amount of time, but then one point the car's just going to stop. And we never like it when that happens. And so a couple pieces of research I've pulled from is Dr. Benjamin Lynch. He's a leading doctor of the mthfr research. He says gut health is a must to be addressed. There's about 6 things he talks about that must be addressed for that. And then there's what mold actually does is it proliferates candida in every single host. You will see, and candida is in your gut, and it is like brain fog, inability to remember, low energy, irritability. Anything sound familiar? So a little bit about our story is I had a healthy 2-year-old, and she had allergies. I knew she had yeast overgrowth, but what happened was we moved when she was 3 into a home. We did not know it actually had mold in it. They had covered up that there had been a massive leak. So come to find out, a week she's not sleeping, months into it, she's having trouble breathing. We go to ENT specialists. We are at the doctor all the time. We're trying to figure out her allergies are getting worse, and we're just going through the list, and no one can really tell us what's going on. Well, then the leak happens again, and we're like, what? And I start to suspect things because now I'm sneezing in the middle of the night. None of us are sleeping, and it's just a mess. So we have them open the wall, and there's mold like everywhere underneath this bathroom. There is, she was having trouble breathing. She was getting sick a lot. There's a lot of respiratory illness, a lot of anger. She couldn't sit, she couldn't focus. Verbal ability started going out the window. There's even the ability to communicate was really, really starting to get hard. So I'm a researcher, so I started looking up mold. I started looking up just different things of how the body needs to be supported. I had to study the immune system. I had to study genetics, epigenetics, gut health, everything. I feel like I got a small certificate out of it without getting a certificate or a degree. But what I found out, mold basically tries to decompose the body before it's dead. It steals glutathione, and the same with yeast in the leaky gut. It will steal things, it will deplete, you'll see anemia, you'll see tons of different things. And again, it's those alarm signs saying something's off, something's trying to take you out before your time. So a couple things to know, especially with autism, mthfr, gut health. Tylenol depletes glutathione. So let's say, you're having pain, your child's teething, there's fevers, you're giving them Tylenol or ibuprofen. Well, Tylenol depletes that. Mold depletes that. The mthfr is not being able to effectively create glutathione. So what's happening now, you're having a low glutathione level in your body, which is actually really, really bad. So what does glutathione do? Why is it so important? Why am I even mentioning it? So that it's the disposal of waste of brain cells, and it protects against toxicity of various compounds. mthfr, like I said, it generally is at a decreased level. So supplementation in this area is incredibly important. And having precursors like it's called NAC or alpha lipoic acid to help boost the body's ability to create it is very, very important. So studies, this is with the autism piece, say that autism could be the result of disruptions in the normal brain growth in early development and may be the result of defects of genes control brain development and regulate how brain cell communication with each other. So I want you to look at this. There's all these different factors. There's constant being exposed to different pieces. Our food sources are not as clean, nor are they as nutrient dense. And so now you're having where our body is having to really fight forward for the nutrition and the ability to work properly the way it's supposed to. Things from like early childhood diabetes, where the cells are no longer communicating with insulin to be able to regulate it in and out of the cells. This is an epidemic that's coming up. I mean, they say in 2050, 50% of the population is supposed to be diabetic. Well, what are you doing today to avoid being part of that statistic? Because I'm not going to get into it, but there's different root reasons why our bodies are starting to not work as well as they should, and why statistics are going sort of out of the window. So what can you do? like knowing all this, that's great, Deirdre, all this science information. Well, one, you have to know the nutritional support of just having eating cleaner, just making sure you don't have dyes, preservatives, all that stuff that really junks up your system that your body wasn't naturally made to expel. Now, God made our bodies fearfully and wonderfully made, and we can, it eventually has ways of helping support and getting it out of our systems. But the more we put in is the quality of what we get. So just realizing that. Supplementation is huge, especially with that deficiency of glutathione that I was talking about. We specifically use a glutathione because the body must continuously regenerate glutathione, which is your master antioxidant as well. So it not only does like the cellular detox, but it helps with good hair, with skin, with energy, with so many different things in your body. So it's important when you use a glutathione supplement that you include specialized enzymes, or you have there's specialized enzymes that require specific vitamins and minerals to make that recycling process happen. So when you have that coupled with a glutathione, and we use one that's really fantastic by Dr. Benjamin Lynch, I have seen it turn like my daughter's attention. It's like she is that child that we had. She's not 2, she's now 6, but that ability to focus, that ability to learn, and memory now, her vocabulary is even more because we're starting to give her body what it needs and what had been lacking. And then the last one is gut health. You have to have good gut health or anything you intake will not be processed the right way. It's just the way it is. I wish I had another magic pill, but it's not. And so the only way you get gut health is through time and consistency and having the right pieces that go in and knock out the bad guys so the good guys can come in. Because there's a whole thing. You can research candida. You can, anything you're probably struggling with, you can Google that and gut health, and you will see there are a ton of studies, because it is essential that what we take in gets assimilated the right way and processed into our bloodstream and then through a cellular level that our body needs. So if you don't address that foundational thing, nothing else is really going to change past that, because you can't absorb things when your body isn't in a place where it can actually absorb things. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going long, so I just want to keep it short. So leaky gut, look up leaky gut and what that means. So with all that, there is so much hope and tools and expectations. People, children do not have to stay living in certain ways. It takes time, it's going to take effort, it's going to be research, but there is a path to freedom, and the answers are out there, and the science is phenomenal that's coming out in the forward research of many of these fields. So be encouraged. Know it's out there. I didn't know until I was researching, and that's why I'm sharing now. So if you have any questions, comments, you want to see any studies that I've been reading, let me know. Otherwise, have a great night. All right, talk to you later.